There we go. Okay. All right. I'm excited. Is everybody excited? I can't see myself, but I can see you guys, or I only see really one show group. There we go. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm excited. I think we're going to get started. We have a few people on already. So put this down here so that I can focus. All right, so I'm excited today, ladies, not just for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you guys for being with us, but I'm also excited because today is Jersey Day, Sports Day here at Blossom and Bloom, and I'm excited as I represent the Steelers, and I'm probably going to get in trouble later because my husband has no idea that I stole his gear. But I'm even more excited this afternoon to be your speaker for this workshop. Before getting started, I want to shed some light on the folks that are on the call, give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. And we can just kind of go one person at a time, and you guys can just say your name. You can share how long you've been with us here at Blossom and Bloom and why it was important for you to be with us today. And you guys can just, like I said, just take turns. Don't jump in all at one time. Go ahead and you introduce yourself. Tell us your name. Tell us how long you've been at Blossom and Bloom and what prompted you to join us today. Whoever is printing, please stop. Please stop printing. Thank you. Please stop.
My name is Shalonda. I'm Ace's mother. I've been with Blossom and Bloom for, I think, like 2 years now.
Okay.
And the reason why I am on here, a little curious. I mean, I really don't yell at my son or discipline him, but I can learn how to have a little bit more patience with him.
Okay.
Even though Ace is a well-behaved little guy, he does get into mischief sometimes.
Oh, so, he does, because he is there. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Don't be shy, because I'm very shy right now, but I'm trying to come out of my box. I'm very nervous, so please join me in talking about yourself. Who else is on the call today?
I'll go, Miss Tiffany.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My name is Sierra. I am a parent and I work at BBLC. I've been here for 4 years now. Actually, it was 4 years in February. And my son is 2 going on 3. And I joined this training because I feel like it's really important for our families to know the things that you plan on talking about. And then I'm here for any support that you need.
Awesome. Thank you, Sierra. And I just want to thank her extra because she really helped me put everything together. She is more technically savvy than I am. So thank you again, Miss Sierra. Do we have any others on the call? I think we have some others, but they might be a little shy. But that's okay. If you don't want to share, that's okay. So I want to thank you again for joining. Thank you so much for sharing and being transparent with us and why you're here today. If it's okay with you guys, I just want to take just a little brief moment just to talk a little bit about who I am. I don't know if I've had the opportunity to kind of share my story with our families and, you know, with some of our staff that are joining the call. So I just want to tell you a little bit more about me. First, I just want to tell you guys that if you're into the zodiac signs, I'm a Leo, born in August. I am every, welcome, Miss Catherine. Oh, there we go. Welcome, Miss Catherine. We're just getting started. We were doing an intro. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Awesome. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us your name, how long you've been here at Blossom and Bloom, and what prompted you to join us today. You there? Miss Catherine, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well, everybody, this is Miss Catherine. She has 3 beautiful children who have been through the program. And how long, Miss Catherine, have you been with Blossom and Bloom? It feels like forever.
It feels like from the beginning.
Yes, from infancy. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the call. I was telling everybody I'm a little nervous. I'm not the best technically savvy person. And we just went around, did some brief introductions, and now we're just going to take a few moments just to kind of hear my story, how I came to sit here at Blossom and Bloom. I started off by explaining that if you're into this, I am a Leo, and being a Leo, and don't forget to mute your phones too, if you can, just mute your phones or your iPads and computers. Being a Leo means that you wear multiple hats, you know, so I consider myself multifaceted. I have a hypersensitive side to me, a very aggressive side to me, but I'm very loyal, loving, and I really believe in people. I really believe in taking the time that is needed to help others. That's really important to me. And some of these things will come out as we talk more today. I am married, and I am on my 2nd marriage, and that's probably has something to do with the Leo in me because I'm so aggressive. Let me let another person in. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are just getting started, just in a little bit of a bio on myself. I am a married mother of 3 kids. So my oldest son is 24 and he still lives with me. And I think he'll probably live with me forever because he was breastfed and very attached to his mother. And my only daughter is 18 and my youngest son is 6. And you guys do know him because you've seen him around the center. So I have been active in childcare since I was the age of 15. And I'm now 46. So you guys can kind of do the math. It's been a very long time for me in this field. But I can remember, you know, reflecting on my childhood years, coming home after school and playing school in my bedroom with my dolls and, you know, making my stuffed animals behave the way they're supposed to listen. My mom, I wanted her to be a part of this. I don't know if she's going to join at some point, but I wanted her to kind of talk about me as a child. So I wasn't the easiest child. And to hear my mom tell it in a funny way, I was the known biter on our block. As a toddler, I bit all of the kids in the neighborhood, and the parents were very upset with my mother and would come and knock on her door to complain about me. And my mom's a Leo, so you can only imagine how she would respond, you know, to people complaining about her daughter. But so yeah, so you know, I'm imperfect, you know, and had experienced some of those same behaviors, you know, that your child or that your teacher, you know, has talked to you about possibly. But I started out in childcare as a floater. I helped out in different classrooms, and I loved kids so much that I would babysit for free. So I would like take people's kids home for the weekend, like every other weekend I had different kids and I loved the babies. So I was always trying to take babies home on the weekend. And my mom would just be like, whose kid you have now? You know, and I would watch them for free. You know, they would come back on Monday with me to my jobs, but I just loved the kids that much that, you know, I didn't need the money. And then I think, I really believe I have like 1,000, I'm a godmom to like 1,000 babies out there because I was always trying to be somebody's godmom. Not really knowing what I was really signing up for. But anyway, to make sure that my love for kids didn't go too far as a young individual, my mom every year would have my sister and I sit down. I don't know if some of you can remember this, but it was a documentary and it would come on Channel 12 once a year. And it was the journey of how babies are born. And it would talk about, you know, it didn't show, you know, a whole lot of the graphic parts, but it really talked about once mommy and daddy loved each other, how the journey begins inside the woman. And it was very educational, very informative. And at the end, it showed the mom like in labor giving birth, and then the baby came out. You could see, you know, how babies come out. And I remember every year saying, I'm not having no baby. I'm not doing that, because that looks like that was very, very, very painful. And so for a while that worked as my birth control, that I think that was my mom's way of scaring us. I don't know. Do any of you remember that documentary on Channel 12, or are all of you way younger than me? I'll wait. No one seen that? No hands raised, no comments? Okay.
I remember watching that health class.
Okay. But not on Channel 12 back in the day. Oh, we have another person trying to welcome. Okay. But every year on Channel 12, it was people. It would come on. Welcome. So now let's just fast forward to middle school. So middle school was when my mom got hit with, your child learns differently. She's a little bit slower. She's really struggling with trying to write and trying to read and put things together mathematically, and she's going to need some extra help. So just like the kiddos here, my mom had to attend a whole bunch of meetings. They put me in special education classes to get some extra help. And the way those classes, now it's so much of inclusion. I love the way, they're helping our kids get the extra support that they need, because when I was growing up, it was a little isolated. They had us in separate classrooms. It would only be like a couple kids, and everybody in the school knew if you were in this room that you were the special kids. And so, of course, I got tortured and bullied, okay? Because, everybody knows without even having to say that. But they were also some of my most gratifying experiences and learning, because I really loved the teachers. They really took their time with me. And it also really helped me to stand up for myself, because, I told you I'm a Leo, a little aggressive, and was a fighter. And so, I was able to stand up for myself to the kids that, wanted to tease me. So after high school, okay, went straight into college after a long time, and years. And I say that because it really did take me years and years to get my degree. I have an associate's degree in early childhood education. And I am like 5 classes for my bachelor's degree in organizational management. And to know me is to know I'm just not the school person. Like, that's just not me. I know people that just love going to school, getting their degrees and studying. That's so not Tiffany. And as now you can appreciate that, because learning was very difficult for me. And it wasn't easy. And just like I have anxiety right now talking to you, that's how it would be. Anytime a teacher said the word quiz or test, just freak out, completely freak out. So my journey from being a student to becoming a teacher, to a mom, to a wife, and now as an administrator has been challenging, has been definitely challenging for me, but it has also been yet rewarding. I believe, it has helped me to relate to the shoes of the child, and their struggle to stay on task, because I was diagnosed, with attention deficit disorder. So, that's the other piece. I have ADHD, very hyper. I told you that earlier. And then I also had a learning disability. And so I can relate to children who do learn different or need, different methods to help things click for them. And visually has become one of the ways that I do learn best. It has helped me to help other parents with challenging kids, because I know what that feels like. My 24-year-old, my first child, and I was very young when I had him. He really challenged me, and even being a teacher, I still didn't know how to parent him. It was my first child, and as you guys are finding out, as new parents, there's really no book, it's just life experiences. And it turned out my son, he ended up having learning disabilities. He had what's called ODD, opposition defiance disorder. I passed on the ADHD trait to him. So he had a backpack full of a whole lot of stuff going on. Some that were passed on, and just some that were genetic and things like that. And so I can understand what it feels like for parents to get those phone calls, and just, is the phone's ringing? Is that the school calling? And what did you do now? So I'm able to help parents kind of just navigate through those types of feelings and those phone calls. And it has helped me with teachers by helping me teach them how to respect every child, every learner, and how it feels to be singled out or called out or isolated. It has really, it helps me to be able to put your child in a perspective to them. Sometimes that, they just don't know what it feels like to be in those shoes. If you've never, if you never were a biter, you can't relate. If you don't have ADHD or learning disabilities, it's hard sometimes for us to relate. And we just think all kids are supposed to be perfect and X, Y, and Z. And then when someone comes along and say, you know what, you have a lot going on in here, and this is why it's hard for me to focus, it just really helps to break it down. So I feel good that, I can wear different shoes to be able to help others grow and learn. And so becoming an educator, being an advocate for education and helping families and helping teachers has been my life's passion. I really wholeheartedly believe in it. I can't see myself doing anything else. And again, I'm just excited to be stepping out of my comfort zone today to be able to talk to you. So let's get started. Just bear with me. Discipline is helping a child solve a problem. So when you hear that, when you read it, what does that mean to you? And feel free to unmute yourself one at a time and just share, what does that phrase, what does that quote sentence mean to you? Discipline is helping a child solve a problem. Anybody want to talk? See, if we were in person, I would call you out. I'm going to call on Miss Ace's mom. You hear me, Ace mom? Ace's mom. You there?
Sorry, I'm trying to multitask at work. What was the question?
Oh, you're multitasking. Okay, good job. So the question is, what does the quote, discipline is helping a child solve a problem? What does that mean when you hear that?
Hold on, say one more time, sis.
Yep, it's right on the screen. Discipline is, and somebody help her out. Come on, Catherine, help us out. We got Lonnie's mom.
Oh,
What is
this is Janelle. Can you hear me?
Yes, Janelle. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
So I think for me, I know my daughter's one. So I'm seeing that discipline is only coming in handy when she is frustrated or she can't communicate. So discipline is also is supposed to help solve that problem of what the issue is.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right.
Mhm.
Love it. Good, good, good. Anybody else want to share what this means to them?
Well, discipline to me is like getting on Ace's eye level. Like we're looking straight to eye and me asking him like, what are you frustrated for? What are you mad for? Like what's going on with you? And he'll tell me. And then I'll try my best to solve it, or he'll solve it himself.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. 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 Anyone else? Thank you. Discipline is it's just a compounding word. It just has so many important elements to it. And I do think that it does have some myths to it. And I do think, that it definitely has some scary points to it, how we relate to it from how we were brought up, and then, how you relate to it from a school perspective, and, now trying to raise your own family. So we're really going to just break down what this word is, and really just help you to understand what it really means and how you can adopt it into your family and into your behavioral plan at home. Okay, so let me go here. Okay, studies have shown that when children feel or own their problems, it helps them to identify more with their feelings and how their problems affect others. Okay, how their problems are handled will aid in how the child deals with future or similar problems. Do they fight against the grain, which interprets the rules of life, or do they flight? Do they run away against the grain by avoiding uncomfortable feelings this problem has left them feeling from the past? So what we're going to be doing today, and I kind of want to put things in a context of baking. Okay, if any of you are bakers, and when you're baking, let's just say a cake, in order, the outcome is that we want this delicious cake. But to get to that cake, we have to put flour and different ingredients together to make the end result, which is a tasty, mouth-watering, moist cake. So our foundation is going to be talking about the ingredients. Okay, that's going to lead to better discipline outcomes down the road. All right. And the first one that we're talking about is life experiences and the imprints that they have on us. So experiences make us who we are today. I think that, me having to go through the teasing and learning different has shaped me, into being the type of person I am. So I tend to, teach others. I tend to try to be patient because I understand what that felt like, as a child when, I wanted someone to kind of be patient with me. So our experiences make us who we are, whether they're good, whether they're bad. And they also leave a print. They also leave an imprint. And I often say to our teachers that we all have backpacks, kids have backpacks, and inside their backpacks are many different things. There's feelings, there's culture, there's rules, there's disciplines. There's so many different things that our kids, even our families, are carrying around with them. So the other piece I want to share with you is that I told you how I'm a Leo and I love to take my time, to help people. I'm not a microwave leader. I'm not a microwavable person. I don't tend to be really quick with things. My team often says, come on, hurry up, get to the point. They hate when we go into a meeting here because they feel like it's always going to be forever. But I'm more like an oven. I'm an oven. So you got to preheat, we got to add these foundations and these ingredients. And then we got to raise that temperature so that we can bake this cake for it to taste good. So I believe in taking my time and helping all of us understand so that hopefully, we don't have to repeat, so that we can move forward. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. So life experiences, good or bad, they're making imprints on us. And the imprints that they're making affects every decision that we make in the future. If a kid touches a hot stove, possibly in the future, they're not going to do that again because it made an emotional imprint on them. So let's just kind of break it down again, like in context. So think about an experience that you have been through that has left you feeling hurt, restricted, worried, concerned, rejected. Did you intentionally repeat history? Did you intentionally repeat that experience, as you move forward into the future? I'm calling on you. Anybody? Yes or no? Probably not, right? Probably
No.
most often you didn't, right? Because it didn't feel so comfortable, right? All right. So life experiences and imprints is our first ingredient. Okay, this is very important for us to acknowledge and to understand. All right, and now we're going to move to our next ingredient. All right, these emotions. I think I forgot to read something here. Let me just say this, that the moment that we're conceived, I shared that story with you that my mom made me watch every year. From the moment that we're conceived in our mother's womb, we are given emotional intelligence. In infancy, we are comforted by our mother's words and her heartbeat. So much and so that when we are born, they place the infant directly onto the mother, and instantly the baby is able to feel comforted by a familiar person they are meeting at the first time. From this moment on, the baby and the mother will use emotional intelligence as their main source of communication. Their ability to learn, the ability for the child to learn healthy emotion, intelligence, and behaviors will depend upon how good the communication is between the child and the parent. All right. Now we're going to fast forward into adulthood. So how many of you have had some, who would like to share an experience that they had when they were younger that made them make a different choice in their future? Janelle? Think about it.
Can you say the
Um,
question again?
So the question is, I want to ask you about, we're tapping into emotional intelligence, and we're talking about how it's shaped from the conceivement of the child in the mother's womb. And then once you're born, these things shape you to who you are today. So is there anyone who can share an experience that you had, good or bad, you know, that has shaped you into where you are today?
I have an example. I'm not sure if it's like 100% what you're asking for, but
Okay.
I know growing up, I grew up in a really strict household where I wasn't allowed to have a lot of people over the house on a regular. And I do believe that made me be more selective about my friends in
Okay.
my adulthood. And actually, I feel like it made me a little bit not as sociable as I think I would have been if I were able to have, you know, more social interactions outside of family.
Interesting. And so I can see how being a child now as an adult, that has shaped and formed you as it comes to different people. Is there anyone else that wants to share an experience, good or bad, that has happened, you know, in your, when you were younger, or in your past, and then now in your future, it has made you be a different person? Well, I'm going to say this. Emotions are important, you know, and it's important how we handle them. You know, the behaviors and the life that our children are experiencing with us every day is going to be what shapes and molds them. They're going to remember these feelings, these experiences that they're going through. And, you know, the results from that can either be positive, you know, or it can be negative. You know, and on your screen is going to show some of the positive imprints that can come out of teaching our kids about their emotions. And we're talking now about emotions being an important ingredient to getting the discipline result at the end. So positive discipline is producing compassion, resilience, self-awareness, and overall confident human being. You know, those emotions are important, but when we don't teach children about their emotions, it can also have a negative factor to it, you know, and it can result from temper tantrums, feeling frustrated, emotional outbursts, and behavioral problems. Okay. And what our goal is in childcare is that we want our children to be emotionally secure and confident in who they are and the work that they're learning how to do and who they're becoming. All right. Any questions so far? All right. So we have imprints, we have emotions, and now let's talk about our next ingredient. All right. All right, so we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna talk about discipline. All right, so we laid a foundation of how emotional and imprints and things that we experience go all into our backpack. And I told you at the beginning of this, you know, discipline, from the conversations I often have with families, I get the perception that sometimes we think, you know, discipline is associated with something negative or something bad or something that we're not supposed to do or something that's abusive. Which, you know, is one of the bigger reasons why I really want to, you know, take the time just to kind of dig a little bit deeper. But discipline is actually the secret ingredient, you know, and baking, you know, this fantastic cake. We had a really nice pound cake yesterday. It was very moist, and I don't know, we had a parent, her name is Ladira, and she made us our lunch for our teacher and service day, and she made this beautiful pound cake. And most often I don't eat pound cake because it's often dry. So I just said, I'm gonna try it. And it was like so moist. I said, oh, what she put in this to make it so moist? Because often when I take it, it's always dry. but I'm pretty sure she has a secret ingredient. She has a secret way or a secret sauce or spice that she uses to make it moist. The secret ingredient to helping our kids to be emotionally secure is to teach them discipline and not to be afraid of the word discipline. All right, so I call it, it's the secret to success. But discipline is a process. You know, nothing happens overnight. Discipline is a process, and it contains, to me, 2 levels of execution. So if you look at the definition that's on your screen, the first part of the word discipline means to train. It's our duty and our jobs as teachers and educators and caregivers and parents is to train. You know, and a lot of times you'll hear us say, you know, all this stuff starts at home, and it does. It's our duty to train and or develop by instructing our kids to understand what is right in this world and what is wrong. And by doing that, we are also teaching them to exercise self-control. Okay, so we teach them discipline is teaching them to hold your hand when they cross the street and not to run away from you. You're teaching them to follow your directions. And you're also teaching them to resist that self-control, to just impulsively run out there because they possibly could get hit by a car. The other layer of discipline, and this is the part I think that we always go to, that's why for me, discipline it's layers to it, is to hold accountable, okay? Hold accountable for the sake of enforcing obedience and perfecting moral character. You know, we want to grow our kids to use please and thank you and to be respectful of others. And we also want to train them not to cross the street without looking both ways. But when something happens and you don't do as the instruction, as I have trained you, as I have taught you, there now has to be some type of accountability. And in the Webster Dictionary, it is say, you know, punishment or penalize. But for a softer sake, we want to use the word accountable because accountability is so very important. So it does us no good as parents and teachers to only do the first layer of discipline, because just like a cake, if we don't have all of the ingredients, it's not going to be moist and delicious. So discipline is a two-layered process. We teach the child how we wash our hands. We teach the child how to sit for circle. We teach them again how to cross the street, and how important meals are, and whatever things that we're working on at home culturally to teach them. That's very, very important. But the only way that gets enforced is if they're held accountable, which is the second layer of discipline. And this is often the other area that is tricky. You know, how do we hold children accountable? How do we, I don't want to raise them the way I was brought up, or I don't like the way my husband wants to handle it. So this is definitely an area that we all have to kind of talk out loud about with the people who are caring for our children. But children have to understand that there are consequences and that they are held accountable when they do make those mistakes. And when we make those mistakes, this is what happens. All right. Remember, this is the secret spice. And the definition for self-control is the ability to have discipline in oneself, particularly one's emotions and desires, and the expression of them in one's behavior, especially in a difficult situation. So take a moment to look at the picture where the guy's saying, you discipline your child in public? And the mom's like, yes. Or no, I think I got it. Or I may have gotten a little bit backwards, but then someone says, yes, now get your child out of the frozen foods. Sorry, this both is coming from the guy talking to the mom. That's the one place I don't like being embarrassed, is in the supermarket. I don't know how you guys feel about that. All right, are you with me? Send me something to let me know that you are with me and that, oh, wait a minute, I see somebody's talking to me in the chat. Give me 1 second. Oh, thank you, Taylor. I see your comment. Thank you. Okay, got you. She can't really talk loud. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. All right. All right, now let's get into self-control and discipline. All right, now all of us here, we're all grown, we went to school, we got our driver's license, right? So how many of us have always gotta let another person in, always drive the speed limit? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. This is also being recorded, so hopefully everyone can watch this later on. And then also for our families who weren't able to join, they'll be able to watch it later on too. So I'll make sure I share that before the end of today. But why do we need discipline and self-control? It's so, so, so important. So we talked about, we all have a driver's license, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I know I've been pulled over a couple of times for not following the speed limit, right? And I've gotten a ticket. So how many of you out there have been right there where I was like pulled over by the cops, either they had a car accident, running the speed limit? And you know what really tends to get me are those lights that I don't recognize. And I really thought that the traffic light was still yellow, but I guess the time that I hit the intersection, it turned red, and then in the mail, I'm getting this ticket. So that has definitely happened to me a couple of times. And have any of you been through that before? Hi, Ari's mom. I see your message. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. For those that just joined, we are, we're almost wrapping it up about discipline. We talked about our main ingredients being emotional imprints. And now we're getting into the word discipline and self-control and really what that means. But for those of you who have not been pulled over, you have discipline. Okay, so that's where I was trying to figure out who's the disciplined person here, and then who's the self-control. So for those of you who have never been pulled over, you have excellent discipline. You are in control. You have self-control. You resist the urge to drive over the speed limit. Bravo to you. And then, like I told you, I'm aggressive. I'm all over the place. I'm a Leo. So I still have to work. I still need to be more disciplined in that area. I'm still working hard to obey the speed limit and to, not get those tickets. So in that area, that's something for me that I'm still working on. And then it says at the bottom, those of you who have been pulled over and given a ticket have received discipline. Okay, so remember we talked about discipline being a two-layer. So it's the ability to teach and to have self-control and resist the urge, which is for all those who never had a ticket. And then it's also accountability. There's also sometimes a consequence that comes with not doing as we are told. And I have paid a lot of tickets, which is why my insurance is sky high. So again, for those of you who have been pulled over and given a ticket, have received the discipline as a form of what we said, accountability, penalization for not exercising self-control. All right. So this is why for us it's really important to teach our kids, this, and to hold them accountable, because we want them, this is the real world. They have to grow up in the real world and understanding that my job is to teach you, to help you be safe. And my job is also to discipline you when you don't follow the directions of being safe and doing what I ask you to do. And a lot of times it doesn't feel comfortable. I know paying these tickets and my insurance going up is I'm not a happy camper. I'm very frustrated. I'm shopping all around, but at the end of the day, the only person I can blame is myself. And so a lot of times discipline is not always going to feel comfortable either. All right. We're not going to be excited, to receive, our correction. All right. Don't forget, we're baking a cake. We're adding lots and lots of ingredients. So now we got our discipline, our self-control, our social and emotional imprints. And all of these are ingredients to making us who we are. All of this, whether you have been disciplined or not disciplined, is still shaping you into the person who you are. All right. And what we're trying to say is, the more that we focus on it and use it as a two-layer word or process, we are able to hopefully in the end have successful, well-balanced, self-controlled little people. All right. All right. Okay. Let's get to, I have a red line over here, Sierra. I don't know what I did to create that line there. All right, so I am sure we can all agree that our number one primary goal of parenting is to raise our children to be fully functioning adults in the end. Like I said, the goal is that, my son eventually leaves the nest. He's 24, we're working on it. And I want him to be able to get his own place, raise his own family, within a balance of using great discipline strategies and the process that hopefully he has learned at home. All right, but however, it can be tiring for parents. It's hard work for parents and teachers to repeatedly tell their children exactly what to do and how to live their lives. Not only can this become overwhelming, especially with the time that we're living in right now with COVID, but it also can be less effective than allowing our children to simply learn from their own mistakes. So allowing your child to experience natural or logical consequences of their actions teaches them how to make choices and to be responsible for their choices. It creates an emotional imprint, okay, because now this is an experience that they're going to remember forever. So it creates an emotional imprint of empathy, self-control, resiliency, forgiveness, and respect for others. Okay, now you're probably saying, oh, what is this natural and logical consequences? So let's look at your screen where it says natural consequences. The natural occurring result of a child's action. It is important that the child knows that they are responsible for their own choices and the natural consequence that could follow. So natural consequences is the result of something the child does. Okay. So for an example, at the bottom it says, child does not want to eat dinner. The result of that is the child is hungry later. The next example is the child does not want to wear a coat. The outcome of that is that the child is cold later. So natural consequences are natural things that just happen naturally due to what the child's choice has been. So let's just say a child, a lot of times this happens here at school. So, all the kids are sitting around a table, it's lunchtime, we're serving milk, we're serving food, and all of a sudden somebody's hand gets in the wrong spot and they knock over their milk cup. Never fails. A natural consequence, okay, because consequences is helping us to learn from this emotion or this experience that has happened, okay, and it's also the segment of a result, okay. So the consequence for that is not for the teacher, to freak out and be like, oh my God, and the natural consequence we're hoping is not, oh, no problem, I'll just clean it up for you. Let me go get the paper towels, the mop and the broom and all that. But the natural consequence is for the child to support themselves in helping to clean it up. So instead of all the other things I mentioned, we give the child paper towels, if they need a mop or a bucket or, within reason, of course, we give them, and we have the child clean up. And what the child hears from the adult is, no problem. I can help you. I can help you get the paper towels, and we go get the paper towels and we hand it to the child for them to help clean up. There are so many rich teachable moments and experiences that the child is learning from that. Now we can't expect a child, especially, if they're 2 and 3, to clean it up, spick and span, as we would. So it does require sometimes within reason for us to kind of understand our child, and we may have to go back and kind of tidy things up. But the initial response to that, what we want to teach is natural consequence. So the natural response is going to be, no problem. It's okay. Let me help you by getting you the tools that you need. Or if they're older, what do you think that you need to help fix the problem? And having them kind of think through those things. Well, I probably need a mop and a bucket and, and some paper towels, and helping them get those items so that they can now be accountable. Because what our goal is that if it happens again in the future, we have now taught them, we remember discipline is teaching. We've now taught them some tutelage to be able to solve that problem. And are you still with me? Unmute yourself if you're still with me. Hope you are. Oh, I see.
Still here.
Awesome. Somebody says, sorry, Tiff, I'm still here. Just can't talk. No problem. No pressure. I apologize for putting pressure on everybody. Okay, so that's the goal, and that's the kind of the background between natural consequences. And these are things that we're trying to orchestrate here at school. And then we have another member that's trying to enter. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And then what we now want to do is join an alliance with our families. And we want you to begin to adopt. Don't forget to mute your phone. Mute your phone, pretty please. Thank you. To use these strategies at home. Okay. All right. So we talked about natural consequences. Next, let's talk about what a logical consequence is. A logical consequence is predetermined by the parents, caregiver, and teacher. It's explained to the child and is still an outcome of the child's choice. Okay. So let's go to your screen. It says logical consequences occur as a result of a child's actions and are carried out by the child or caregiver as a follow-up. So some examples of that are mom says, ride the bike on the sidewalk. Okay. Child rides the bike in the road. Mom takes the bike. Now I need you to talk back to me, whoever can. Tell me, why did mom take the bike?
Mom gave clear rules to riding the bike, and the child did not abide by the rules.
Very good. So mom took the time to teach the child discipline, taught the child how to ride the bike, said it's safer. You got to stay on the sidewalk. You got to be right where I can see you. I don't want you in the street. There are cars out there that can hurt you. And as soon as she turned her back, she turned around and the child was coming back. And this is at a point where the parent or the teacher has to make a decision. Do I scream and yell? Do I take the bike? Do I just let my child continue to ride the bike in the street? You know, so we want to make sure that we're consistent, right? And that we are really holding accountability really where it needs to be. If we really don't want our child in the street, then there has to be some type of consequence, right? There has to be some type of follow-up or outcome from when the child does not listen to the directions and the teachings and the examples and the resources and all of that, okay? Because we're saying that all this has to be within reason. We can't just teach somebody something one time and expect them to get it. So this is all within reason that we have had this conversation. We did some examples, and you still are trying not to do what I am trying to teach you. Now this is the hard part. A lot of times this is hard. My last child is my last child. My third child is the last child. And I have to tell you, while, anything can happen, I'll probably be like, that's all right. He's a boy, he's fine. But being as though he is the last child, and I don't know, I want another one, but I don't know, so I went and got me a little puppy. But I just love that little guy, and he makes a certain face and he's just so freaking cute, but I said, don't ride the bike in the street, because where we live, cars are zooming all around, and it can become very dangerous. So in order for me to teach him what mommy says goes, what mommy says, I'm saying this from a place of safety, and I love you enough that I need to keep you safe. I now have to take his bike. The hardest thing in the world. Sometimes I turn my head and not let my child see my face, because it really pains me more than it pains him. And I have to take that bike. So that now I'm reinforcing the discipline and the expectation. So now let's move on to the next example. Child hits another student. Teacher reviews the rules and child sits for 2 minutes. And so this is definitely a great example from a child care perspective. we often have to give choices to kids and say, you know what, you're not playing with the bikes the right way. So you can either play with the blocks or you can go in dramatic play and play. You cannot play with the bike anymore. And there are times when we have said that enough and now you have to sit out because this behavior has reached a point where you really need to regroup, rethink, and understand how we have to treat people moving forward. So logical consequences become a result carried out. It's more now, you're going to be thinking now, you know, it's more logical in the brain thinking about what is the appropriate response to the outcome behavior that I just experienced with this particular child versus natural consequences are sometimes things that naturally just happen from us not, you know, from just being a part of this world, imagine it is Black Friday, you know, and you slept through it. I remember my mom, we would be out at 4 a.m. standing in line. And God forbid, if you tried to go out on 12 o'clock to get the TV that was on sale at Walmart, you've missed it at that point, you know, so you had to get up early, you had to be on time, you know, or naturally you just didn't get it. You know, I mean, wasn't anything pre-planned or, you know, discussed, you just missed out because you weren't on time. Whereas logical, you know, is now we are in the store fighting over the TV because I got to it first and we're going back and forth with it. Now another person has intervened and make a decision for us to have to choose from. All right. All right. Hopefully, I pray this is making sense. All righty. So now I'm going to put you to the test. We have two visuals here. The one on the left with the baby, there's three, I don't know if it's left or right with what you're saying, but it's three pictures of a baby. The baby, you know, is sitting in a high chair playing with his food. Then all of a sudden, the plate flips up in the air, the food goes one way, and now the food lands on top of the baby's head, and the baby's like, no, I didn't think it would work out that way. I didn't plan for that to happen that way, but now all my food is on my head. What version of natural logical consequence do you think this series of pictures represents?
Natural.
Very good, very good, very good. And I often, I always teach infant families, especially, you know, once your child gets a little bit older, like this child here in the picture, every infant child at some point in the midst of learning how to eat foods and sit in a high chair will begin to throw their food, okay? If you have not experienced this, tell me now. But 9 times out of 10, every child, when they are done eating, they will throw their food. And that really, you know, for us as parents, we're like, no, you're going to eat this piece of broccoli. But I've learned to interpret that as the child's way of saying, I'm done. I don't want it anymore, right? So the more the parent picks it up, puts it back on the high chair, the child says, I told you I don't want it, throws it again. Now the parent picks back up, parent puts back on there. Now it's become a game and it's funny now. You know, I throw something, you pick it up and you put it back. So now this is fun. This is a game now because I was trying to tell you I didn't want it anymore, but now let's keep playing this game. It's really fun. So what we're teaching the child in that end is really, we're not really teaching the child discipline in that case. So generally what we try to tell families is that when your child throws something, all done. Child's all done. And then even if they cry, they're all done. Because we're trying to show naturally when you throw all of your food on the floor, you're telling me you're all done. You know, so if you're not done, your tummy's gonna be hungry. So the next time that we serve food, you're gonna be more attentive and wanting to stay at the table and to eat everything because you know that once it falls on the floor, I'm going to say it's all done. We're going to clean up. All right, so let's turn our attention to the next picture. And it says, after you clean your room, we can go play catch. Can anyone tell me what version of natural and logical consequence this is?
Logical.
Exactly. I love this one because this is a no fail. Like sometimes it's you find yourself being trapped in arguments with your kids. I know our teachers sometimes I'm like, why are you like arguing and like going back and forth with this child? And you just naturally fall into that because we're just, you know, we're accustomed to that as adults. But sometimes it's just great to have these leading kind of sentences. So we use a phrase called first this, then that. So this to me is an example of that when it says first, if you want to go play catch, if you want to watch this special movie, first we get a bath, then we watch the movie. And it just helps the parent to stay nice and calm. Teacher says calm. You're not like, oh my God, I kept telling you, if you clean up your room or if you do get in the bathtub, we can watch this movie or we can go outside. And you find yourself arguing, you find yourself getting all emotionally involved in this conversation. And then you burn out. And either most often, I know when I get like that, I'm just like, whatever, just do it. I don't care, just go outside, but am I really following through and teaching the right, am I teaching my child the right experience, the right practice? Am I really giving my child the right end result? And no, most often. But what has happened is I have gotten caught up in this emotional roller coaster and now I'm exhausted. So natural and logical consequences really help the parent to stay neutral, stay calm, everything's okay. I know you just spilled spaghetti all over the place, but you know what? What do you need from me to help you clean, to help clean this up? What do you think we need to get? Putting that problem back onto the child. No problem. You want to go outside? I want to go outside too. But first we have to clean our room. And then next we can do X, Y, and Z. So, and it just keeps you mentally calm. It helps the child not wiggle its way because you're not saying no, because kids hate to hear the word no. You're not saying no, you're saying absolutely. But first we do this and then we do that. All right. So logical, very good. As logical, it's really taking the time out to really think through what the best after result should be, that makes sense for the situation. All right. So here are some examples of what happens when we execute positive, natural, logical consequences, which again is going right back to positive discipline. All right. So when parents teach discipline, okay, when you're teaching, remember discipline is a two-layer process. It is teaching your child how to be obedient to the rules. And then when they're not obedient to those rules, it is now having them feel the after effect and accountability of that. So when we get really good at doing that, we're now helping our children to learn choices, to make choices, to be independent. We're teaching them respect, especially respect for authority, because I have to say this, we hear no a lot from kids. We say, all right, go pick up the toy and put up. No, I'm not doing that. And they run from cleaning. Sometimes for us, we reflect that back. How is that happening at home? If mom and dad are allowing their child to say no to them without really using natural logical consequences, we will tend to have more of a problem here at school. All right. And then that turns into, over time, as a child grows up and now as a school ager, that turns into, disrespect of authority. So using these strategies and just kind of really looking at discipline from a different lens and perspective is really helping your child. You really are helping them. You're really going to make an impact when they go off to elementary school. All right, so we got their learning choices, they're becoming independent, they're learning respect of authority. You're teaching them empathy, you're teaching them about feelings. How does that feel when that happens to you? And remember, these are all things that they're going to remember as they move forward in their life. And some of these things they're not going to do again because they're probably not going to keep spilling if I have to keep cleaning this up, because this is a lot of time. This is a lot of work. I really want to get to my TV show that I like to watch, or I want to go out and play catch. So I need to stop spilling stuff, or I need to keep my room clean so that, I can get to the things that I want to do. And that goes right into resilience. Resilience, and this is definitely, and I want everyone to know that your child is resilient. Your child learns it firsthand here because in childcare, we often have high staff turnover rates. So there's new people that enter our building all the time. And your child learns how to move on and open up different space within their emotional intelligence to welcome and receive this new person as if, you know, they've been with us all the time. They don't tend to fall apart. Oh my God, it's a different teacher today, like we do as adults. So we really want to teach the kids it's okay, you know, Miss so-and-so is out, we're rolling with this teacher, and you know what, we got to respect her too, because at the end of the day, we're all adults and we're all teachers. All right. Problem solving. We're teaching children how to be problem solvers, to think about, okay, I made a mess. What are the best strategies? What do I need to clean this up? And for families, sometimes you just have to walk away from situations, because I know for me, I want everything done like, oh my God, right now. I told you, I'm impulsive, hyper, like we gotta go. If my son is moving too slow, I'm going to just put the jacket on. Like we gotta go, you know? So what I've had to learn is say, we gotta go. So either you put the jacket on or you're gonna carry it, because we have got to go, you know? And maybe if it's raining, he's gonna get wet. And as parents, this is again, the other hard part is seeing our kids kind of live through the consequence, but know that this is good. This is called real life. It's really good. It teaches them so much. So if he didn't put his coat on and it's raining outside and he gets wet, it pains me as an adult because I can empathize with him, but it teaches him a better lesson for tomorrow when mommy says, we gotta go and you gotta put your coat on, you know? So it's okay, you know, and sometimes it's okay. It teaches them resilient. You're not going to die because the water fell on you. You're going to be fine. It's okay. I think as adults, we just, you know, we want the best and we want to do everything. But I do think sometimes as caregivers and parents, we can sometimes get in the way. Sometimes we get in the way of our kids being able to be, to learn from their actions. And that's really what life is really about. And it's not that we want to be hands off and not have a non-caring attitude. I'm not saying that. So just please hear everything within reason. But it is okay for them to be uncomfortable for a little while, because it teaches them what do they need to do to not be that way anymore. And it also teaches them about accountability and how you have to be responsible. You know, when we hurt each other, most teachers say, you know, say sorry, you know, and it depends on what age the child is, you know, making them say sorry. Sometimes it's not really effective, you know, because that's really hard unless you've taught emotions, you know, and unless, you know, there's a lot of language and a lot of cognitive and language experiences that need to go into that conversation. But you being accountable is just by simply, I'll clean it up, no problem, you know, and teaching them how to go get or how to build back the castle of the friend that they knocked over, or drawing a picture, you know, for a friend that you hurt their feelings. Sometimes those are a little bit more appropriate for kids to kind of connect the dots and connect the pieces for teaching accountability and empathy. All right, go to the next slide. Biggest parenting myths. If you love your kids, parenting is easy. Side, it is difficult. And you guys have the number you have, and you know, I have 3. And let me just tell you this, like, and I'm pretty sure we have parents on the call that have older children. It doesn't stop. So I used to think when my child turned 18, I didn't have to parent that child anymore. Like, it's over. I'm free. I'm released from this parenting thing. No one told me that it continues. It really does. It's a lifelong sentence, parents. So buckle up for the long haul. You are a parent for life. I said that to you. You're a parent for life. I still call my mom, you know, at 46, I'm still calling her. So she still thinks she's in control, but you're a parent for life, Oh my gosh. So it's never easy. It's always a process. Disagreeing in front of your kids is always traumatizing. Not always. And remember, we're talking about things within reason. You know, it's healthy for children to see, to experience a debate. It's healthy for them to see your feelings about what you're going through. It's very healthy for them, because now it teaches them that everything in life is not always perfect. You know, mom struggles. I can't always get a toy when I go into the store. Mom's on a budget today, so we're just going in here to get what we need and we're leaving. And sometimes it's healthy for them to see, mom and dad have conversations about what is best. Again, everything is within reason because it's all going into their backpack and it's all making an imprint for their future. Every bad behavior requires a strong consequence. Not necessarily true. We just talked about every negative behavior should follow up with some type of discipline outcome. We talked about that. And it should either be natural or logical. It should always make sense. It should always be age appropriate. Spanking teaches strong discipline, not necessarily. I have 3 kids and they all are very different. I will admit, I had to spank my oldest. I was trying everything. My middle child, if I just raised my voice at her, I got right through to her. And then this child here, the 6-year-old is a comedian. He's really funny. And so I have to work hard at not laughing at him when he does things he's not supposed to, because he turns everything into a joke. So that is a little bit harder. But spanking, to me, what's more important, the strongest discipline is what we just talked about, is using natural and logical consequences. Because at the end of the day, spanking hurts. Okay, like spanking my oldest kid, first of all, we're all out of shape. So now I got to chase him around the room. Okay, so now I'm out of shape. Once I broke my glasses, and then my hand hurts. You know what I mean? So I think we go through, it's more painful for us sometimes than it is for them. I done got myself emotionally worked up. Now I'm ticked off and gone to bed angry. So it's more emotional for me. And then I wonder how effective has it really been for my kid? But teaching them natural and logical consequences, like the slide said, first we clean your room, then we can go out and play catch. Now I'm just chilling on the sofa. Hey, listen, it's on you. When I'm ready to go, whenever you're done cleaning the room, we're on our way out there to go play catch. So sometimes those types of experiences have a lasting effect that, again, will help your child make better choices in the future. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. It takes a village, and there are resources all around you. And we are part of that resource here at Blossom and Bloom Learning Center. Go with the flow. Sometimes every day is not perfect. Okay. Don't expect everything to be tip top, spick and span. I often use that word, spick and span, but it's not always going to be spick and span. It's okay. Be consistent. This one is so important. Be consistent with your discipline practices. If you're not disciplined, your kids will not take you seriously. They will actually laugh at you, to be honest with you. And that is kind of like, that really hurts a feeling, because that's happened to me with my own kids and the kids and your kids. They will laugh at us like, what? No, I was serious about what I said. But they thought it was funny, because every time you say it, you never do nothing about it. So be consistent. Say what you mean what you say. All right. And this takes the stress off in the long run. Make communication a priority. Talk to your kids. Don't just be yes and no, or because I said so. Some of us were raised that way and we hated it. I was the why kid. Mommy said, I can't go. Why? Because I said so. But why? I needed to understand, like, why couldn't I go over my friend's house? Or why did you just take this away from me? So I raised my kids explaining to them the what and the why. The reason why I don't want you out late is because something happened to you, or I need you to have the phone because if something happens to you, I need to be able to get in contact with you. So I always try to have a conversation and not just direct orders, because I said so, do it now, blah, blah, blah. Because then it just is not effective. And as a parent and teacher, you end up getting more frustrated than the child. And this helps us to better understand our emotions too. And it's okay to tell your child, I'm frustrated, I'm mad with you, I cannot talk right now, just give me 5 minutes. It is okay to express those feelings, because we just said it helps your child to understand. And you'll be surprised, your child may come back one day and say, Mommy, I'm mad at you and I'm not talking to you right now. And, don't get an attitude, respect the process, because sometimes when we're teaching our kids, it will come back to bite us in the butt. It will come back, but it's all good
Yeah,
because,
Ace does that now.
and it's
He
funny.
does that now, yeah.
Try not to laugh in front of them, try to turn your head, because what that is a bravo to you that they're getting it and now they're using it. So that's a great sign to let you know that your parenting is working. It's working. All right. Take care of yourself too. Okay. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Let me say this again. Take care of yourself. Mental health is important. Take those breaks that you need. Run to the store before you pick up the kids from daycare. Have girls' night. Have movie night with your kids. Take care of yourself. If you're running from the office to picking up the kids to now you got to go to sleep because you have to get on this call, you got to go do this, you got to do that. You don't have the patience and the capacity sometimes to put these things in place because you yourself are just wore out, you know what I mean? And so now everything is an argument, it's yelling, it's not coming out the way it should. And that's, we don't want our kids to see that side. We don't want them, this process that we're going through is going to be calm, very peaceful, not always peaceful, but it's going to be a calm process. It's not supposed to put you in a position that you're angry, you're just erratic, you're frustrated, but you're handling it now in a different way because it's not your problem anymore. Natural and logical consequences put the problem back on the child to solve. You're just there to guide, to shape, and to make it kind of spick and span and tidy. But you're allowing the child to take responsibility for themselves. All right. So you guys have been awesome. All right. So let's wrap this up. Teaching your child discipline and self-control by using natural and logical consequences helps your child to now accept criticism, take responsibility. They're not tantrums all over the place. They're like, yep, I did it and I will handle it. They teach them to move on after making a mistake, say no when needed, kind of get people out of their space, stop that, I don't like that, share their feelings, solve problems, have empathy for others, become great listeners, and live healthy and have healthy and long-lasting relationships with others. And again, this is all within reason, this is all within time. But if we start sowing the seeds now, and if we approach this as a village, whereas your caregiver is doing it at school, when you go over to mom and pops, they're doing it. And then when they're at home, you're doing it. You will begin to see a responsible child evolve out of this whole situation. It's going to be amazing. I've seen this work. And these will end up being the future kids that we want in leadership and the White House and, everything, doctors and attorneys. These are the kids that we want them to be confident, we want them to make choices and decisions and problem solve. This is why we're working so hard at the ECE level. And with your help, we'll get there even faster. So I want to thank you so much for your time and patience. Please enjoy parenting. Remember that your child is our future. Thank you. Are there any questions? Anything anybody would like to share before you log out?
Oh, you did awesome, sis. It was very informative. Can't wait for the next one.
Woo, I'm breathing now. Oh my gosh. So we have another one. I think it's Thursday, but this one's for kindergarten. Yep. This one's a little bit lighter, easier. This one, like I said, I really thank you so much because this is out of my comfort, all the way out of my comfort zone. But thank you so much. And know that we're here for you guys. So when the teachers come, if the teachers come, we really want to be that village. And really what we want is for every parent to join us in this new initiative, which is help us discipline and teach your child. Oh, let me see, we got some questions in here. Thank you, C. Oh, awesome, great job, I learned so much, that's awesome. Thank you guys.
Okay, I got a quick question. How do we prevent our children from acting like other kids who aren't being good role models?
Okay, I'm sorry, say that one more time. Kind of came out.
How do we prevent our kids from acting like other kids who aren't doing the right thing?
How do we prevent our kids from picking up bad habits from other children?
Yes.
Okay, well,
That's a good question.
that is really loaded, locked and loaded there. I believe that we start by raising our kids to have our own values. I think sometimes the way life was back in the day, like mom stayed home, you know what I mean? So she had time to teach us, you know, how to walk, how to talk, how to dress, tuck the shirt in, all these different things. Don't go out there, do this, don't do that. Now both parents are working and everything is moving fast. By the time we pick up, it's time to eat, time to sleep and do this thing all over again. You know, so we find ourselves just really just putting out fires as we go, not really getting ahead of the train. I think that is going to be a process. I think that it starts with you establishing how our family works, you know, and that was really hard for me with my oldest, because he thought because everyone else had to wear name brand clothes that he needed to wear name brand clothes. So I had to like, just because look, you know, he was supposed to have a car. So I had to train him to understand and have conversations with him about how our household worked. You know, the holidays and the cultures that we had. We go to church every Sunday. I don't want to hear it. My friends don't go, This is how our house works. This is how I'm trying to raise you. So it's starting by having those types of conversations to build your family culture at home. You know, we have some kids here who are Muslim and they understand their culture. They know what they're not allowed to have, what they're not allowed to do, and they will tell you, and they are small kids, but they will tell you straight up. You can tell that the parent has instilled that value that was so important to them about their religion or about, you know, their culture, and they were able to at toddlers to speak up, no, you know, or they would wear and dress and not feel any type of way about what anybody said about them. So I think it starts from us as parents really developing what are our cultural values? You know, what do we believe in? What are we going to stand for? What are we not going to stand for? It's not okay for you to go out here. You know, it was really important that my kids not get pregnant, you know, before they graduated high school. You know, I had messed up and I really wanted them not to repeat my history. So I drilled that in them as kids growing up. I told them what they're going to do with their lives and guided them, you know, down that path. And thank God those two, the oldest ones, they have now graduated and they do not have any babies. We have other problems, but they don't have those problems. So it starts with us as families. It also carries over to talking with our teachers so that you can hear honestly what is happening, what are the struggles. Ask those important questions. Well, how did she do this, and what is she saying, and and then having those conversations at home. Today we're going to be this way, okay? You know, same thing. I tried to raise my boys, don't touch females. That was very important to me. I don't care how angry you get with your sister, Julian, do not put your hands on her. He came close one day and I told him, you touch her, I'm calling the cops. I love you enough that I will call the cops on you. You will not put your hands on women. I don't tolerate that. And inside, I'm like, please don't do it, because I really don't want to call the cops on him. But I'm gonna have to say what I say, mean what I mean, if he does do it. And God intervened, and he didn't do it, but he knew I wasn't playing at that moment. And now, you know, as he's having girlfriends and they're getting frustrated, he takes deep breaths, he walks away because he knows his mom taught him, don't you put your hands on a woman, or the cops will be involved, which is real life. So I'm sharing that to say it is a process, but it does start small at home and by talking with your child and instilling whatever the home expectations or culture is and showing value in that, you know, praising them and, you know.
Hey, Tiff, can I chime in?
Sure. I'm sorry. Yes. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was trying not to cut you off, but Taylor, you still listening, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I think also too, definitely what Miss Tiffany said, like it starts at home and just, you know, reminding, particularly for Peyton, that, you know, what you believe in at home, or, you know, you believe in not hitting and being able to talk out your feelings or emotions, just encourage, like keep giving her the confidence and encouraging her to do the same at school. And I think she's getting to it, again, specifically talking about Peyton, I think she's also getting to an age too where you can explain to her that, you know, some kids are different, and that's okay, that, you know, some kids are going to do different things, and some kids are not going to choose the right thing to do, and just giving her, you know, still giving her that confidence and encouragement to still make the right choice, because I think that's something that's forever going to be things that parents deal with. Is, you know, your kid, she may go into a classroom in kindergarten, and it may be a kid in there that always is like kicking their shoes off and throwing their shoes at somebody, and you just want to know that you gave her the foundation that to make a better choice than what that kid is doing. She knows right from wrong. I think it's just giving her the confidence and then just continuing to encourage her to do the right thing.
Okay. I would say because I didn't have to deal with like everyone said, like, you know, you get the terrible twos and the threes. She didn't get bad till she hit like 4. Yeah, she just came out of nowhere. She's a whole tornado. We looked into a behavioral specialist and everything.
She's getting smarter too, and I think that comes with it as well, and that's why I said I know she's very smart enough to know right from wrong. And I think if you just keep encouraging right from wrong for her and stay true to your discipline practices, whatever that is, if you know you're a disciplined parent that makes you sit out or you lose, you know, privileges for certain things, I think as long as you stay strong with that and just talk it through with her, communicate with her, you know, let her know when she does act that way at school, that makes mommy very sad, or it makes you very frustrated, or it can even make you feel embarrassed that she's acting that way because she does know better. And when I think she sees too of how it affects you as well, I really think that'll help it click for her too.
Yeah, that was her last week between throwing the blocks and spending like a whole day in timeout. I'm surprised she hasn't, but we took the whole TV off the wall. She don't have a TV no more.
And you know what? It sounds like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. That's your discipline
You're
technique.
such a nice mom. I didn't have a
And Miss
TV.
Wanda said it's a whole different kid, and I was like, it must. Oh my god, she's so spoiled. She's had a TV since she was like a year old. I could not handle Coco Melon no more.
Oh my God. I do not blame you. I do not blame you. one
Yeah.
bit. But remember, everything's a process. But as long as you're acknowledging it, and now you have some tools that you can begin to use, begin to tap into your tool belt, and just begin one at a step at a time, and you'll see a turnaround.
Okay, we're trying. Like
And that's
it was
all.
just recently.
That's all that matters. You know, we all don't have it figured out. One thing, my 6-year-old, he came home one day off the bus and he said to me, Mom, one of the boys on the bus put up his middle finger and everybody was doing this. And so I kind of wanted to go like to the negative side of that conversation. So I had to take a deep breath. And then I said to him, oh, well, how did that make you feel when he did that? Well, it didn't make me feel any kind of way because he didn't do it to me. I said, okay. I said, well, would you do something like that? No, you said we're not allowed to do that. Oh, okay. Why? Yeah. And it became this conversation, you know? So I think too, sometimes we do as parents, we get really concerned with behaviors, you know, especially when the teachers are coming to you. It's like, oh my God, why can't you get it right? But, you know, within reason and age appropriateness, have those conversations. Like, what's going on? Like, why did you do that today? Like, what can we do to make this thing better? Mommy has to go to work, you know what I mean? And your job is to go to school and be the best person that you can be and be nice to your friends, blah, blah, blah. You know, so starting small with those conversations, and making sure that, you know, they're age appropriate. Because again, we have a wide variety of ages on the call. You know, so just, you know, but just you're like Sierra said, you started the process, which is having those talks and being aware, being on this call. And so now you can only expect it to get better from here. Does anyone else have any questions or feedback? Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you, Ms. Catherine. Whoever the iPhone person is, thank you. All right. So if there are no other questions or feedback, I would like to send you guys a survey just to kind of get your opinion about what you thought about the training so I can get better with this. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this. And like I said, we did record it. Now I'm just going to figure out how I send it to you so that if you need it, you know, it's there for you. All right, everyone. All right. How do I get out of here now? How do I, am I done? I paused it. No.